and photographs, and this may require temporary exclusion of press and public to protect the identities of those involved. The panel has this ability to, under the hearings regulations, to exclude press and public if it's in the public interest, so that we may need to go into private session at the appropriate time. But most, we have seen, we have looked at all of the videos and photographs that were supplied to us. Otherwise, we are being webcast and recorded. So this is a notification of a temporary event notice, or 10, for St James's Tavern, 16 Madeira Terrace, Brighton, BN1 1TN. Before we begin, I'm going to ask everyone around my screen to introduce themselves, starting with the panel. Please ensure your microphone is on when speaking, and if possible, your camera, so we can see that you're still there, and it's always nice to see people. And then please turn off your mic when you're not speaking. Okay, so I'll go first. I'm Councillor Julie Cattell. I'm Deputy Chair of the Licensing Committee and Councillor for Westbourne and Poets Corner. Paul.
I am Councillor Paul Nairn, Councillor for Wish.
Sam.
I'm Councillor Sam Parra. I'm the Councillor for Westbourne and Poets Corner, and I'm also a member of the licensing panel.
Thank you. I meant to say, I hope everybody's okay with first names. Right, I shall now go on to our officers, starting with Rebecca.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Rebecca Siddell, Legal Advisor to the panel.
Thank you. Sarah.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Cornell, and I'm the licensing officer for this application.
Thank you very much. Mylene.
Oh, good morning. My name is Melaine Hayward.
Melaine, sorry.
That's all right. I'm the Environmental Protection Officer in Regulatory Service Environmental Health.
Thank you. Frankie.
Good morning, everyone. Frankie Mitchell, Democratic Services, and I'm clerking this morning's meeting.
Thank you. Okay. Mark.
Yeah, Mark Thorogood, Sussex Police Licensing, and with me in the room is BC Andre Bernasconi.
Thank you. Ethan. Oh, sorry, Victoria, first of all, because you're the DP, aren't you? Yeah, DPS.
Hello, I'm Victoria Bennett. I'm the DPS of St James Tavern.
Thank you, Ethan. Ethan, are you there, Ethan? Luke, are you there?
Hi, I'm Luke Morag, and I'm an ex-worker at the St James's Tavern.
Okay. You're a what? Sorry, a what?
I used to work there. I'm a student now.
Oh, you. Oh, okay, okay. Are you happy to turn your camera on, or?
I can do.
Okay, yeah, because as I said, it's good to have the cameras on, so we can, as if we were in a real meeting as opposed to a virtual one. Okay. And Ethan, do you know if Ethan is there? Victoria, do you know where Ethan is? Is he around?
He's not here. He was logging in from home, actually.
From a plane.
I can drop him a message. What was that? Sorry. Did you say?
Okay, don't worry. I mean, is he? If he's on a plane, is he allowed to participate?
Oh, he is. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, he works for us.
Okay, but I'm just saying, did you say he's on a plane, or did I mishear that?
Oh no, he's not on a plane. No, he was logging in from home.
Oh, I thought you said he was on a plane. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Okay, Sarah, other Sarah. Sarah BL.
Good morning, Sarah Booker-Lewis, local democracy reporter for Brighton and Hove, representing the majority of news media in the city.
Thank you very much. Okay, right, let's move on. Okay, now first of all, I am going to ask Sarah Cornell, who is our licence officer, to make the case on behalf of the licensing authority. Go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you. So, as you know, this is the hearing for a temporary event notice for St James's Tavern for Pride weekend from the 31st of July to the 4th, sorry, bear with me, 3rd of August. For For further details on the 10, please see from page 13 of today's agenda. And you will see from page 47 that Sussex Police and Environmental Health have submitted a notice of objection on the grounds of the prevention of crime and disorder, prevention of public nuisance and public safety. And if the licensing authority receives an objection that is not withdrawn, in the case of a standard 10, then it must hold a hearing to consider the objection. So the applicant submitted additional information, including videos and photos, which have been shared with all the parties. Environmental Health also submitted additional information. The licensing committee may decide to allow the licensable activities to go ahead as stated in the notice. If the notice is in connection with licensable activities at licensed premises, the licensing authority may also impose one or more of the existing licence conditions on the 10, insofar as such conditions are not inconsistent with the event, if it considers that it is appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. If the authority decides to impose conditions, it must give a notice to the premises user, which includes a statement of conditions, and provide a copy to each relevant party. The existing licence can be found from page 27 of today's agenda. Alternatively, it can decide that the event would undermine the licensing objectives and should not take place. In this case, the licensing authority must give a counter notice. Thank you. You're on mute.
Sorry, any members of the panel have any questions for Sarah? No? Paul, you're not? Okay. Any? Okay, that's great. Thank you. Sorry, Mark and Milane, have you any questions for Sarah Cornell?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, and
No, thank you.
Victoria, have you got any questions of Sarah?
No.
This is just procedural. Okay, right, that's great. Okay, so I'm now going to hand over to Milane for her statement, and then people can ask questions of her as well afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to formally place a representation in terms of the application for a temporary event notice at St James's Tavern, 16 Madeira Place, Brighton. Miss Victoria Bennett has for a temporary event notice for the Friday the 31st of July 2026 to Monday the 3rd of August 2026, which is the weekend of Pride, to extend licensable activity hours inside the premises on both the ground and the first floor of the pub. It's to, as you say, the extended hours are on the application and in the information that's been provided. This representation is made on the grounds of prevention of public nuisance and public safety, two of the 4 licensing objectives within the Licensing Act 2003. In August 2022, over the were received about noise from people outside in the early hours of Monday morning. On the 19th of April 2023, during a pre-Pride visit, the police and council licensing spoke to the DPS of the premises and gave a strong warning to her verbally about not going over the times, because there was also an issue about going over the times and ensuring they are not causing a noise nuisance, a people noise nuisance. During Pride weekend of 2023, Environmental Protection, Police and Council licensing had to visit the venue on more than issues of licensing and also noise. In April 2024, at a pre-Pride visit with Police and Council licensing and EP, a serious conversation was had with the DPS and her partner about the incidents that had happened the previous year and not to repeat them. Pride 2024, noise complaints were received about the loud music that was coming from the pub after the event ceased into the early hours. The DPS was written to. Prior to Pride 2025, an on-site visit took place involving the premises licence holder, licensing, police licensing and environmental protection. arrangements, because obviously 2025 Pride had changed. It wasn't the same as in previous years. It was made clear at the meeting that there was no PVP event in St James's Street, therefore no permission for any outside activities was reiterated to them. Also, no music or speakers outside at all. Advice was given on what they can and couldn't do, and it was made clear about no music audible outside. A temporary event notice was subsequently granted to allow them to extend the hours premises only. During the Pride weekend, a number of visits were carried out by partner agencies following public safety concerns relating to large numbers of people drinking outside the premises on a road that remained open to the traffic. Requests were made to reduce external noise levels to help manage these risks. Where compliance was not achieved, Environmental Protection issued a community protection warning. A temporary road closure was implemented solely in response to the safety concerns. The music from inside, where they had a DJ, was extremely loud and could be heard outside and across the road. There were repeated requests that the volume of the music be reduced, not only to the DPS, her partner, but also the DJ. Requests were also made to close the windows and doors, which would have helped. So a CPW was served on the DPS on the Saturday of Pride weekend as the business refused to turn down their music despite several warnings from police and licensing. When we confronted the partner of the DPS, they seemed to, and these are notes that were taken at the time, they seemed amenable, but then the DJ intervened and claimed that there was no reason to turn it down. When the warning was served, the DPS claimed their music wasn't too loud and was not the reason people were gathering on the road in front of the premises. After the CPW was served, the volume was turned down. The CPW was initially handed to the partner of the DPS, but then Miss Bennett came across, and so it was then handed to her. At the time, Miss Bennett commented that she had never been served a warning from the council before. On the Sunday evening, multi-agency visits were made again to the pub to reduce the level of noise, which was audible in the vicinity around the pub, causing crowds and blocking the main Pride Street party exit, which needed to be kept clear. In a letter to Miss Bennett on the 6th of August, the Environmental Protection Officer mentions the CPW that was served on her over Pride. The Environmental Protection Team, Police Licensing and Council Licensing spend a considerable amount of time each year carrying out joint visits to all licensed premises, not only in St James's Street but throughout the city leading up to Pride, giving the same advice to all licensed premises around noise, speakers and music outside and other licensing concerns. So everyone is clear on what the expectations are around these issues over the weekend. In the submitted evidence from this hearing, Miss Bennett has denied that she or any of the staff was handed the notice, but I note that in an email to the licensing team on the 2nd of June 2026, after being sent a copy of the CPW, Miss Bennett has acknowledged that she was handed it at 1800 hours on the 2nd of August 2025. Having regard to the above incidents responded to by the local authority and the police on the previous Prides between 2022 and 2025, this department has no confidence in the management and running of such an event, especially a Pride event. This is the weekend of Pride, the busiest event for the city, with many thousands of people coming into the St James's Street area for the celebrations, and the area will be extremely busy all day long. Over the last few years, the St James's Tavern has taken up a lot of emergency services and council officer time by causing a public nuisance during these weekends. There have been very little cooperation or reluctance to cooperate with the requests of the police and local authority by the DPS and her management team. The concern is that there will be similar problems this year, and emergency services and the local authority will be called to the pub again to bring it under control. As mentioned previously, there is no official Pride event in St James's Street in 2026, so the road will remain open and not be part of any official event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sam and Paul, do you have any questions of Elaine?
No, thank you, Chair.
Sam?
Not at this moment, thank you.
Okay, can I just ask, Elaine, the people that gathered outside, obviously you weren't there, but your colleagues were, were the people who were gathered outside, is this in the evening or during the day?
So I was there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise, sorry.
Yes, I was
sure,
there.
yeah.
So it was once sort of like during the afternoon and through to the early evening that there were there was people gathered outside because of the volume of music that was outside. There were no speakers or anything outside. It was the music that was inside that was coming out, the sheer volume, which is why we asked for it to be turned down.
And those people who gathered outside, were they actually using the premises, or were they just people who were generally milling around and thought, oh, here's some music, let's listen and have a bit of a boogie?
I think that there's probably a combination of both. I think a lot of people were attracted as they walked past to the music that was going on, but there may have been some customers as well.
Okay, and with regard to the public safety issue, and as you said, it was down to because the roads were being blocked and possibly there might have been some sort of accident involving vehicles and people. I thought that the roads were closed off last year.
No, they were open to buses, to cars, to transport, but because of the amount of the volume of people that were around, I think a decision was made, possibly my colleagues in the police will be able to answer that, was made to close it because of safety concerns for people that were there, because the cars and the buses were still going up the road until
that's
early afternoon.
That's something to ask, because one of the photographs that we've been sent actually does show a barrier and police presence. So is that what you're talking about?
Again, I can't comment on that because I wasn't party to the road closure. I know that the road had to be closed, and there was traffic, and I think one of the videos showed traffic going up earlier on during the day. But at some point a decision was made by the council's events team and probably the police or highways that the road had to be closed. But there were lots of people around on the opposite side of the St James's Tavern and sort of Madeira Place, and in the road there. So that was where there was quite a number of people loitering.
Okay, so do you, during the course of these investigations that you do, I'm guessing, are these do you just do these roundabout at Pride, or is it a general thing that you go out if say I phoned up and said, look, there's a noisy party going on in my road, would you come out say tonight if there was a noisy party going on?
No, we no longer have an out-of-hours noise patrol service.
I thought so, yeah.
But for a large event like Pride, we work closely with council licensing and police licensing, and we do have an active presence up until last year. I'm not sure about this year yet. An active presence working that weekend.
Okay, and are you able to measure the intensity of the noise or level of noise?
We don't need to. It's a subjective assessment made by us as professional officers.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's really helpful. Paul.
Thank you, Chair. You said that the venue was taking up a disproportionate amount of time of police and council officer resource. How much more was it taking up compared to other venues of a similar size on the day?
So a considerable amount, because we hardly visited any other premises in that road because there were no issues. There was only one other premises in St James's Street that we had issues with that we were going to, but apart from that, all the other licensed premises were complying, were not causing us a problem or a concern that we had to go and visit and speak to them.
Thank you.
So can I just ask again, who normally, do you patrol and then think, oh, there's a noise going on, or do you get phoned complaints from people?
So the complaints could come into us, or we work with the police and the licensing, and as we're walking around, because we've had these discussions with the licensed premises beforehand, the expectation should be there that they know what they should and shouldn't be doing. And so when we feel that there is an issue or they're not doing what we've asked them and agreed to prior, we will go and have a quiet word with the manager or the DPS or whoever to try and resolve that. But obviously, if that doesn't resolve itself, then we have to then we would advise initially, and then if that doesn't work, we will, as we did on this occasion, had to serve a community protection warning.
Okay, and just following on from what Paul said, how many other premises did you have to visit and issue or express concerns on that? So there over that
in
weekend?
St James's Street, if I just focus on St James's Street, there was only one other licensed premises that caused us a problem. All the others were not ones that we had any concerns with. The other premises we did not need to serve a warning notice on. This was the only premises that we served a warning notice. I did, however, outside of St James's Street, serve a noise abatement notice on another licensed premises in the city.
Thank you. That's great.
When you think of how many places there are that. That's quite, it's quite a small amount.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sam?
Actually, my question's just been answered. I was just going to ask about how many noise abatement notices were served across the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, is there anything you'd like to ask Melaine?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Victoria, would you like to ask any questions of Melaine?
I'm just wondering, if it was such a security breach, why we was granted the 4 AM licence last year then? If we were really that bad in 22, 23 and 24, and you didn't have much faith in us, I'm wondering why you did grant the 4 AM licence last year.
So I would imagine much the same as my colleagues in the police licensing, is that we wanted to give you the opportunity to show that you had taken on board what had been asked of you, and to allow you to extend your hours so that you could be part of the Pride, celebrations in the city.
And also, when you're mentioning about late close up outside the previous year, our actual barrels and our till and everything was unclipped. We were purely clearing the street and moving the things inside to our cellar via the flat. And you said that it was a slow shutdown, and we were sweeping and cleaning the rubbish from the street and putting it into the wheelie bin to help with the clear up, not just our rubbish, the street. And you said we had a slow clear up when we wasn't taking any money and there wasn't any sales going through. Do you remember that time?
That has nothing to do with me. That was the licensing officer that actually had those discussions, because that's not something that I would be involved in. I'm the noise person.
So did you receive a noise complaint this year, last year at Pride? Did you get called out and a noise complaint submitted?
So yes, so as you are aware, my colleague was involved in the noise complaints who I was working with that came in after Pride, because she wrote to you as well, advising you of that.
I got served the notice at 6 PM on the Pride at Saturday.
Yes.
But I wasn't given any warning prior to being served that.
No, but we had visited you on at least 2 occasions earlier on in the day, and we'd had discussions with you, with your partner, and with your DJ.
Yeah, you didn't actually have it with me personally.
And we also had a conversation with your DJ as well. Once you told us that we needed to speak to you, we spoke to you about the issues. And as it wasn't being resolved, we did inform you at the time verbally that if you were having to come back, then you could be served with a formal warning letter, which obviously we did on the Saturday.
And we did close our windows and doors at 6 p.m. on the Saturday.
After the warning was served, yes.
At 6 o'clock on the Saturday, all our windows were shut and everything was inside. So there was no speakers. Mukanira had their speakers outside. They had music at 80 decibels and ours was 72.
So we're obviously not here to discuss somebody else. But that was dealt with at the time, but we won't go into any detail of that because that's another premises. But that was a little gelatery that's opposite, and we did have words with them, and they removed the speaker straight away.
So why didn't they get a noise complaint when it went on so long? A noise notice?
I don't think it's relevant to be discussing.
Yeah, sorry, can I just come in here and say that yes, we're looking at what happened with you. With your premises, Victoria. I'm sorry, I agree.
Yeah, there were some other complaints.
Sorry, I think we just need to carry on talking about your premises and what will happen to your tenant, Victoria, if that's okay. Okay, now have you got any more questions of Milane?
Well, because it's to do with noise, you know, our benches outside, we have to shut at 9 now because of noise. So outside on the street, on Madeira side and St James Street is both 9 p.m. And before it was 11 p.m. And somebody made the decision, Highways and you, to close the benches at 9 p.m. So at 9 p.m. now, every day, our windows and doors are shut. So we've made very good, strict rules here that at 9 o'clock, whatever's going on, the windows and doors are shut every single day here at 9. And our tables outside are moved, instead of at 11, now at 9 p.m.
So this is about noise. So I'm just saying that
since 2022, our seating's gone from 11 outside to now 9, which is really early. So I think that we've taken on board what is going on your side, but we can't do anything less to lessen the noise. I don't know what else we can do.
Victoria, can I just intervene again? At some point during this proceedings, you will get the opportunity to put forward your case. At the moment, I would just, it's just an opportunity for you and any of your colleagues and partner to ask any specific questions about Milane's representations. So you will get the chance to have your say, later on this morning. So if there's any other specific questions. Because obviously,
yeah.
Okay. Is it specifically to do with what her statement? Yeah. Go ahead.
The noise warning that you gave to the first to Zach at the property. Do you not think that because I was outside and I was on site, you should, because he didn't realise the seriousness of what you said to him?
So we did initially hand it to your partner, Zach, but then when we saw you, we came over and we handed it to you and explained it.
But the first complaint you said you made, or 1 or 2, which I don't know about, they should have been made to me as the DPS and the responsible person on the site. That's just my personal opinion, that the people that you made that you informed that were not aware of the seriousness of it.
Well, as I say, when we did find you, we did talk to you about the issue. So it was initially, yes, it was Zach, but then after that, we did speak to you.
Yeah, you should have, I think personally, you should have asked for me. And I was outside on the street the whole weekend. But okay, thanks very much. No more questions.
Yeah, sorry, Victoria, could you turn your mic off, please? Because sometimes we're getting a bit of feedback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is up there?
Sorry, is Zach in the same room as you at the moment?
Where is it?
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Zach, is there anything, because you were part of this process, is there anything you'd like to ask Melaine?
Hello?
Oh, sorry, you're on the same, you're not on the same laptop, yeah. So are there any more questions from anybody representing? Yeah, okay, go ahead, Zach.
I personally don't believe muted. I personally believe they just
Sorry, can I just say, have you got any specific questions to Melaine about her statement?
I believe this is against St. James Tavern, because the noise complaint made against St. James Tavern personally.
Sorry, can I just say again?
No one else along the road and the traffic and everyone up the road.
Sorry, Zach, can I just stop you again? You will have you and Victoria will have the opportunity, later on, because what you're doing is making a statement on your own behalf. I'm just asking you if there are any questions that you have to Melaine about her statement that she made, which you have heard this morning. If that's the case, then we'll move on. Okay. Sorry, Mark, is there anything you'd like to... Have I already asked you, Mark? Sorry, I'm a bit... Right, okay. And Sarah, have you got anything that you'd like to...
No, thank you.
Okie dokie. Okay, so now I will move on to Mark to make his statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everyone. As mentioned, we're here today to consider... I'm getting bounced back from someone.
Sorry, has everybody got their mic turned off? Because we can still hear conversations going on in the background. Okay, go ahead again, Mark, see if we can sort it out this time.
So, as mentioned, we're here today to consider a temporary event notice, a 10, for St James, located at 16 Madeira Place, Brighton. It's worth noting that as this venue is a corner one, it has a facing out into St James's Street as well. First off, I would just like to clarify a couple of things. If our objection to this 10 is upheld, it does not mean the venue cannot trade over Pride weekend. They can still operate under their current licence permissions, which would allow them to trade until 1 AM on Friday into Saturday and Saturday into Sunday, and until midnight on Sunday. Secondly, much of the evidence produced by the applicant centres around pointing out that members of the public attending the area were all well behaved. Our objection is based on how the management has operated under 10s over recent prides, not based on the actions of people attending who, in the whole, have been out with family and friends celebrating Pride without causing issues. For a number of years now, we have worked with venues in the location of St James's Street and the surrounding area to see how we can support them in licensing to make the most of Pride weekend. We have held face-to-face meetings with partners from the local authority. One of the main things we talk about is extended permissions over and above their normal license. Extended hours are something we have fully supported for a number of years and continue to do so, but it comes with a need to ensure that the venue will operate within the perimeters set and agreed upon. In 2022, when the location had the official Pride Village party, venues were permitted to have street bars. The times of these bars were set within the start and end times of the village party itself. These street bars were operated by individual venues under a 10. On the Saturday, we had to ask the venue to close its outside bar as it had gone over the permitted hours. Despite this occurring on the Saturday and having to be asked to close it, the next day, on the Sunday, they did the very same thing again. In 2023, when once again the Pride Village Party was occurring and venues were permitted outside bars, this particular year we had a call requesting us to attend St James as they had started service from their outside bar around an hour before the approved start time on the Saturday. When we arrived, we had to reconfirm the permitted times with the venue, despite this all being agreed upon in pre-Pride meetings and clearly set out in the 10. Additionally, they had glass bottles out on the outside bar and people found to be dancing on their benches, which could have caused injury had someone fallen. Finally, they were very slow in clearing up the outside bar at the end of the evening. After 2023, we did say to them it was unlikely that we would agree to support a 10 for 2024. However, we did, and apart from again being slow clearing up, there were no other issues. In 2025 was the first year of the new look Pride Street Party. The changes to the footprint brought with it many challenges for venues, as well as police and other emergency services and partner agencies. The main aim was to keep St James's Street open for the weekend for people going about their normal day, remove restricted access to businesses in the area and keep traffic flowing. During our pre-Pride visits, we relied lots on venues operating differently to what they have done in previous Pride years. Two of the main things we asked venues to do was to ensure if doing off sales, this did not cause lots of people standing outside their venue, blocking footpaths or going into the road, and to keep music at a level that it would not attract people to the outside of their venue. What we found at St James's was that it did very much become a focal point. We appreciate that not everyone there were their customers, but the issue was they were attracting people to the area due to the loud music coming from their venue. Over the Saturday, there were a few conversations had with the venue around this. Due to the number of people in this location going into St James's Street and the footpaths becoming crowded, to ensure public safety, the decision was taken to close St James's Street to traffic. The venue is fully aware they had loud music. At one point, the DPS stated to one of our licensing officers that they had turned the bass down, and I quote, "So we turned the bass down a lot. It's much better than earlier." Pride is a big undertaking, and this is why we rely on venues to operate in a way that's been agreed upon and is set within permissions on premises licence and/or a 10. We appreciate that the venue can trade all over the weekend under their licence, but we are asking for a refusal of this 10, as for the last few years, the operators have shown they can't stick to what's agreed within them, and for Pride, this is a concern for us. Finally, we have supported the operator in recent times. Alongside local authority licensing team, we have helped them make an adjustment to their licence in regard to the outside seating area, a condition that they were breaching but aren't now. And we have also agreed to permit 10 should they wish to submit them to show the World Cup, subject to security at the venue. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mark. Paul, I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Mark, so you mentioned that the road, in an ideal world, St James's Street would have been kept open, but it had to be closed. Are you saying that because of the actions of the St James Park Tavern, that the road had to be closed?
That was where all the volume of the people were congregating, and we believe that was because of the loud music coming from the venue. So it was getting a risk of people getting in the way of buses coming up St James's Street.
Right.
So obviously, the good intention of keeping St James's Street open, obviously that decision had to be made, changed, which I think was about 3:30 in the afternoon. I think the road eventually got closed.
Okay. Were there any other factors involved in the decision to close that road?
Not that I'm made aware of, but that obviously was a decision above me, and I would have obviously been privy to all of those conversations with the local authority.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam. Okay. Mark, yeah, just this, obviously I've not heard about, I don't know about your powers, etc. But you do have those kind of snap decision powers to be able to block off a road or close a street because of public safety. Is that the case?
Yeah, so from what I understand, police have powers to be able to close a road because of public safety, but it's like not for forever, if you know what I mean. It's a case of you shut the road, you sort out the problem, you get the road open again. As far as I'm aware, the road closure, I think, was more done under the local authorities' powers.
Oh, right, I'm with you.
Staying closed for a considerable amount of time. So I think that could have been under the local authority highways powers rather than necessarily the police's.
Okay, so there are these kind of interactions between the police and the local authority if there is thought to be a potential public safety issue. So, you know, somebody phoned somebody who said, yeah, get the barriers out or something like that. Just looking at how this procedure works.
Yeah, so during Pride weekend, we have representatives from various different agencies. You know, the NHS, council, various different council teams and everything, and they're actually all sitting in a room together. And they've got CCTV camera screens and everything that they're looking at around the city and the park, etc. So all these people that make these key decisions are all sitting in a room together all weekend.
That's good.
That's being boots on the ground. We're just getting phone calls and saying, can you go and have a look at this, look at that, and, you know, report back on what we can see. Eyes on.
Oh, that's I suppose in a way that's good to know that level of sort of safety, you know, it is being looked at. I didn't know that after all these years. And do you know of any other roads that had to be closed off because of potential public safety?
No, I mean, all the other road closures throughout the weekend were all the pre-planned ones for things like the parade around Preston Park to ensure safe entrance and egress, and obviously the seafront area for the actual Pride street party. Some of the side roads also closed off St James's Street just because of counter-terrorism measures that were put in place.
Oh gosh, of course, yeah. Okay, thank you. And obviously that's all part and parcel of what will happen this year. Because I think those counter-terrorism things have come in fairly recently, haven't they?
Well, they've been around. Well, no, I mean, they've been around for a number of years, but obviously it looked a bit different this year because of St James's Street, last year, because of St James's Street being kept open. Some of the side roads just had counter-terrorism measures. I mean, again, it's way above my pay grade. I can't really comment as to why they were put in certain places, but, you know, they were there for a reason. As far as I'm aware, this year, we've gone out already and done all our pre-Pride visits around the Kemp Town area and spoken to all the venues. And we had council with us on those visits, and they did confirm that, from what I understand, that St James Street will be closed this year. Okay, and you've visited, or someone from your team has visited Victoria and her staff. Yeah, we went and visited Victoria and Zach. If you remember, it was about a month ago, I think now. And we went there with fire, with Melaine, she was there, and with council licensing as well. And we explained the situation and said to them that we wouldn't be able to support a temporary event notice this year. However, they are more than welcome to put it in and have this opportunity to come before the panel for yourselves to decide on where we go from here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Paul, you've got your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. Mark, just want to check something. So, just to get it clear in my own mind, the decision to close St James's Street in response to the crowds there was taken by the local authority, not the police.
I can't be 100% sure on that. Like I say, all the relevant people would have been sitting in a room at the same time having those discussions. But I don't know exactly who obviously said this has to happen.
Okay. And sorry, the police would have had the right to close it regardless of the local authorities' feelings. Is that right?
Yeah, police have the power. So, you know, if there is a public safety situation, then they do have emergency powers to shut it under the road traffic regulations to shut the roads. But police would normally only shut a road for as short a time as possible. Shut it, sort out what the issue is, and then get it reopened again. If the road then stays closed longer term, I would have thought that's most probably would have been more likely under the local authority highways powers.
Cool. So the reason I'm asking these questions, Mark, is I'm trying to find out how urgent the people who made the decision felt the situation was. And my assumption, rightly or wrongly, is that the police would have a much lower threshold for closing a road if they thought there was danger, and that a local authority would have a higher one. But I don't know if you're saying it was a joint decision made off-site and there's no way of knowing who made it and who didn't. It's irrelevant, isn't it? So thank you. I'll sort myself out of that question. Cheers.
Sam, have you got any questions? Okay. Actually, I would have thought, I'm just speculating, that someone from the council's transport team would have been in that room as well, because it's they would have had to instigate the closure, I'm guessing. Anyway, we don't know. We simply don't know. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Now, Sarah Cornell, have you got any questions you'd like to ask Mark?
No, thank you.
Okay. Melaine, have you got anything you'd like to ask?
No, thank you.
Okay, Rebecca. Sorry, Rebecca.
Yeah, no, through you, Chair. I just wanted to ask probably Melaine and Mark. Obviously, the panel has the power to attach conditions that are on the premises licence. I wondered whether there were any conditions that you feel would be appropriate or might give you confidence in this case at all. There's a noise limiter condition. There's I can't. There's not that many, but I just would like to ask.
Yeah, I mean, from the police side of things, the only thing that we would like to see is a restriction of off sales of alcohol during the extended hours, if the 10 was to be granted. I can't obviously comment, Malone will comment on any of the environmental protection stuff, but that would be the main thing for us.
Okay,
I think they've agreed to restrict. I don't think they've applied for off sales, have they, during the extended hours? I think it's.
Okay. So, oh, right. Okay. Victoria's shaking her head. So, Paul, did you have another question?
Yeah, sorry, Chair. I'm just trying to get something clear in my head, so excuse me for labouring a point. Mark and I appreciate you might not know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway because it might help me. When the road was closed, right, was it closed because it was thought sensible to close the road given what was developing, or was it closed because a situation had been created that was dangerous?
I would say it's because the situation had been created with the volume of people in the area that was becoming a concern. I mean, I personally witnessed police officers at one point actually escorting a bus up St James's Street.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, when it gets to that point that you're, you know, having to use police officers to escort a bus up streets, that is most probably what started tipping that decision.
Okay, thanks, Mark. That's really helpful. Cheers.
Actually, that's made me think of another question. Sorry, Sam, do you want to come in first? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. I just wanted to ask, did you have concerns about any other premises or any other spots on St James's Street other than this one at that point?
No, St James was the one that was the kind of chitter chatter all day that, you know, was on our radar.
Okay.
Okay. Mark, my question is, okay, closing off the street is one thing to prevent more people going up there, but what about dispersal of the crowds that you thought were possibly putting themselves in danger? What dispersal measures did your colleagues have to take?
Well, early on, it would have been conversations with, you know, various venues just to say, you know, you've got a few people gathering. Can you just get them to disperse a bit from your venue? Or if, you know, there's too many people on the footpath, just try and move them away a bit. But it obviously just got to the point where the decision was made to shut the street, within which case the street was closed. And so, you know, it kind of took away those risks because people could stand in the road.
Okay, so people had kind of scattered a bit by the time the road was closed.
Oh yeah, and you know, it's daylight
okay.
of the day, and I think, you know, you've seen that as well if you've looked at the videos from Victoria. I think, you know, some of the videos shown people being around in the road, which, you know, the road was closed, you know, so that
cool.
was fine.
Thank you. Now, Victoria, is there anything you would like to ask Mark? And bear in mind, these are questions that to ask him about the statement that he's made, rather than your own case, which you'll have the chance to put forward very shortly.
I was aware. I wasn't aware that the road was shut due to our pub, because the day before they put the barrier up down the street. So I just thought, Mark, that we're on the corner of Madeira Place and St James Street, and most of the people outside were in Madeira Place. If you look on the videos, we didn't have anyone queuing outside St James Street. They were on Madeira Place, and this was the entrance for the residents at the street party. That's why the barrier was outside our pub. So how was the road going to be open if the queue and the entrance for the residents, which went way up Madeira Place past the pub? I don't understand how the street could possibly be open.
Which street are you talking about, Victoria?
You know, we're on the corner.
Yeah,
so
so you're talking about James
Place,
Street being open or Madeira Place being open?
Which is our address, obviously, Madeira Place, although we've got two entrances. So most of the people were congregating at Madeira Place because there was a queue of residents going into the party, because that was outside our pub was where the entrance was, and that barrier was up and erected the day before Pride.
Yeah, so Madeira Place was closed because it was being used as an entrance point into the Pride Street party, but St James's Street was still open, and the barrier was a bit further down Madeira Place. It wasn't right outside your venue, and so you had loads of people outside your venue on Madeira Place, and then the volume of those people were then just slowly edging towards the St James's Street Road, which was an open, at that point, it's the open highway, and buses were getting up and, well, not up and down it, they were going up it because it's one way.
But the queue at one point was almost at the corner of St James Street, wasn't it? The people queuing to get in.
I don't know. I mean, the video that you posted doesn't show it went that far. But I mean, I personally did not see that queue on the visits that I made there.
And Madeira Place, where our pub is, was that not the ambulance route?
I'm not too sure what the green routes were. Because again, that's
apparently the ambulance route was here. And the barrier was put there so that if there was a terrorist attack or some problem, that the barriers would rise up and the ambulances could come through. The barrier wasn't put for the residents going into the party. The barrier was put up because
we're not saying that. We've not actually talked about the barrier, so I'm not sure what point this has, Victoria, because we've not commented.
I don't know how you would keep St James Street open, which we're on the corner of, and Madeira Place, how you would manage to keep that road open with a queue of people going along past the property, and also it being an ambulance route. How would you be able to keep St James Street open anyway?
Because if an ambulance needed to come through, then they would stop the traffic going up it to allow the ambulance to come through, like we do on any day of the week on any road. If there's an ambulance coming through, people move out the way for it.
And the 30 police officers outside, what was their purpose of being there? Which were never there the years before.
30 police officers, but there would have been police officers in the area, just patrolling the area for everybody, you know, making sure everybody's enjoying themselves in a safe environment.
But they were there solidly last year, but never the previous years.
Because of the changes of the Pride Street Party, the Pride Village Party turning into the Pride Street Party, obviously nobody knew what kind of impact that would have on the area. And so because of that, there would have been additional resources put into the main focal point of where, you know, for Pride weekend for public safety.
And they stood there the whole weekend in a group, all of them stood there. the whole weekend. So they were planned and booked to stand there.
I'm sorry, Victoria, but I don't know what you're getting at and what this is in relation to your temporary event notice.
I'm just saying that you were expecting that they might be required, because the year before, when the street was completely packed and it was a street party, we didn't even have them officers there then.
Yeah, because it's an event.
I'm just wondering why you decided this year
when it was the Pride Village party, it was an event space which is run by Pride. So they put all the security measures in and everything, and we have resources that can attend should it be needed. But first and foremost, when it's an event space, that event organizer manages that area. Last year, St James's Street was no longer within the event space. So the management of that area, should anything happen, would have fallen to the police. So because we didn't know what the impact was going to be on that location because of the changes, we ensured that we had the resources to manage with anything that, you know, could happen. And you know, I'd like to think that you would think that was a positive thing to ensure that, you know, everybody had a great weekend in that location.
It did, but I felt that they didn't really give me any assistance on helping with the street, but that's another issue. I felt like I was managing the entire street, not just the pub.
But
and I did feel that they were there on standby. I understand that. I understand they were there if required. And if they had been required, they were there. And because they wasn't required, that's why they wasn't utilised.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Victoria, do any of your colleagues have any questions of Mark? I think Zach has just put his hand up, yeah? And don't forget, this is questions of what Mark said.
Just for Mark, yeah.
What he said. Yeah, just Mark mentioned, mute your computer. Mark mentioned earlier, we've been serving before 11 o'clock or before the party started outside. That is not true, actually. And we started within the license, and Victoria, can you mute?
It is muted.
Sorry, is this a question? Is this a question or something that
No, I'm just making comment about what Mark said a minute ago.
Yeah, but that's sorry, this is your opportunity to put your case forward. Okay. Will come shortly. No. But if it's any questions that you want to ask Mark.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Could you turn your mic off, please? Oh, is there another question? Sorry, it's getting very confusing because we've got.
Yes,
so I can hear myself being.
It's because there's two laptops.
It's off. It's off. Mine is off.
Yeah, can you close one of them? You know, can you put? That's it. So, Victoria, are you asking? Somebody else in your team want to ask a question of Mark?
Yes, please. Yeah, this is Mason. Yeah, he's been our supervisor here for 5 years, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mason.
Hiya.
I just wanted to say something to Mark. Well, it was you were saying about the noise complaints and things like this, and along the lines of what Vicky was saying. But the queue to the actual park, not the park, sorry, the street party was on our street at number 18. That's where the barriers were. They were right outside the hotel, which is 2 doors next door to this. And you're saying that people are congregating across the road and stuff like that, but I personally don't feel like that was the case. It was mainly because of the queue that was waiting.
Be waiting to get in the bar.
Sorry, what's the question? What's the question there?
That was what I wanted to say. Sorry.
Okay, Mark, have you got anything comments on that?
No, I mean, I can only go by the actions, you know, of that weekend that was seen by ourselves and by our superiors asking us to go and check things out, etc. So, yeah.
Thank you. Victoria, have you and your team got anything else that you want to ask Mark?
None.
No,
okay.
I think we're fine, thank you.
Okay. Right, now I can see that Sam would like to ask another question. I'm happy to let her do that because obviously this is quite an important case, and we need to make sure that everybody has got their questions in. So Sam, go ahead.
Apologies, everyone. This is a question for Mark and for Elaine. How do you normally find working with this particular venue? And do you normally find that they are easy to work with and work well with you as authorities as part of the licensing team and the overall safety of the city?
Do you want me to go first, Elaine?
No, you can go first.
Okay. Well, I'd like to hopefully think that Zach and Victoria both agree that we have a very open relationship and a good relationship. I've been personally dealing with them now for a number of years, and we've always had our pre-Pride visits with them. As we've said, there have been issues under other temporary event notices during Pride with the venue, but we've tried to have trust in them to allow them to have further tens afterwards. Unfortunately, this occasion we can't, but that doesn't mean we haven't stopped working with them. Like I say, we've assisted them with altering their license the past couple of weeks to stop them breaching regarding their outside area. And we've also said to them that we will support them if they want to put temporary event notices in to show the World Cup. The issue we've got is just that this is Pride weekend. We have almost 100 temporary event notices granted across the city. That's venues, about almost 100 venues doing over and above what they would normally do. And we just need for this one particular weekend to try and have as much faith as possible that the venues will do what they're supposed to.
From an environmental protection point of view, and from the council's licensing team point of view, I'm aware that throughout the period of time that Victoria has been at this pub, we've tried to work with them on a number of issues because there have been ongoing noise complaints throughout the time. And my colleague who was investigating those has always tried to work with Victoria, and also my colleague in the licensing team of the council has also tried to work with her as well. So we do we've always approached this on a very open basis so that any issues that there have been and try and mutually resolve and agree to. So
thank you, Sam. Thank you, Elaine and Mark. Are you happy with that, Sam? Yep. Okay. Now I realise we've been going for over an hour, and before Victoria and her team had their opportunity to put their case, would anybody like a 5-minute break? Or are we all okay? Okay. Mark and Paul will put the. Well, should we make it 10 minutes? Which means coming back at about 11:20. Is that okay with everybody? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so see, just a temporary comfort break and see you at 20 past. Okay.
Leave.
Turn it off.
Actually, you've unmuted yourself. You've unmuted yourself.
We'll let you in shortly.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. I think we've got everybody here now. So, Victoria, would you like to put your case forward? And then we'll all ask you questions as before. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make the following points concerning the objectives received by the police in environmental health.
Hang on, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Victoria.
I can hear. Can anybody else hear Victoria?
Yeah, I can hear Victoria.
Who can't? Can everyone hear me? Who can't hear me?
I can't hear
You
Victoria. Can everybody else hear her?
Councillor Cattell, my suggestion would be for you to just simply leave the meeting and rejoin. Can you hear us?
Oh, Mark, can you? Oh, don't know what's gone wrong then. Yeah. Oh.
Julie, we
I
can
might have to
hear.
go out and
I
come
think
back
it
in
might be
again.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Frankie. I'll do that now.
Okay.
Okay, can somebody speak so I can see if I can hear you?
Hello. Hello, can you hear?
No, hang on. There's something not quite right here. Toggle box. Sorry about this. I forgot to put my earbuds back in. Sorry about that. Oh. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. I just saw my earbuds sitting there and thought they're not supposed to be there, they're supposed to be in my ears. Thank you, everybody, for your indulgence. Okay, Victoria, after that brief intervention, could you please? Yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to make the following points concerning the objectives. I do take issue with the ejection from environmental health, that there are so many things they are saying that I feel are untrue, and which are shown to be untrue by the videos, which I'm going to show you after, if we've got time. St James Street did not I feel St James Street did not have to be closed because of the people outside our pub. The video shows St James Street was blocked by huge numbers of people who were enjoying Pride and had absolutely nothing to do with our pub. Madeira Drive was very busy, but this was because they were queuing very orderly to get into Marine Parade Party through the entrance point located at the far end of Madeira Parade. Madeira Drive was in any event blocked by a police barrier, which was nothing to do with our pub. So on the videos, it will show that we have no external sound system, which they have confirmed. So that's good at any time. Environmental health say that we were given a warning notice. It's just that I feel personally it should have been given to me because I understand the complete seriousness of it. And I don't think it should have been given to the DJ who happened to be playing. And I don't personally think it should have been given to Zach because he is a responsible person, but he isn't the legal DPS here. And I think really I was here and it should have been made known to me. It's not like I wasn't available. So they didn't realise the extremeness. They turned it down because they were being told to turn it down. So they were following the instructions, but they didn't realise that if this continued or they felt to be too loud outside, that was going to be a major issue. They thought it's more recommendations. I just think that legally it was such a big thing, and I was the one who was going to get served the notice, so they should have given me the warning. And I was on site. Also, the first bit. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, on the Saturday. Okay, on the Saturday at Pride, I've got a video that shows the queue along Madeira Place. So that's the Saturday afternoon. I think this is helpful because it shows you what was going on in the street. And if you look closely towards the end of the video, then you see the barrier. Now, I don't know how this crowd is blocking the road, because the crowd is in the road queuing, and they're blocking a road which is shut. And this is the emergency route to Marine Parade, where the street party is. So we're guessing that is why the 30 police officers were at the end of the road, because this was the emergency route. Them 30 officers were not there because of our pub. They've not been there any other year. So they wasn't there in 22, 23 or 24 when we had absolutely millions of people. So we don't normally as a pub even have on the door security. It's not part of our licence. So we have free security at Pride. But every day of the week we just have 24/7 security that we call. So we're not considered a high risk pub particularly, like generally. Just so that you know, we're not normally have security. So the police were there for a reason, because they was obviously expecting that this was the first year without the street party. Don't know how it's going to go. People been coming for 50 years. They're going to come to the area. Some people wasn't happy with the party being moved, so they might congregate, might be some hassle, so they got the police there. This is our philosophy of it. I don't feel there's any evidence that we were encouraging a street party. Our music was inside. Our customers are on the pavement, and we have a pavement licence. And in the videos, you can see our customers on the pavement, and our security and myself are keeping them on the pavement. The people in the middle of the road are nothing to do with us. Some of them are from Mukanera, some of them are from another restaurant opposite. All very well behaved, I would like to say, but they're not our customers. Our customers are on the pavement, sticking to our pavement licence. We saw some people walking about with glass bottles, and then we intervened into the road and were giving people plastics, which was not they were not our customers. That we didn't even sell them products. So we didn't have outside music. At 6 o'clock, we then had to shut our doors and windows because we were advised we were being too loud. But there was people outside on the streets, and their windows and doors were not shut opposite us. So we're not the only business. There's 12 hotels, and there's a restaurant and a coffee shop opposite. A coffee shop that sells alcohol. And so I do think, where did I get to? We weren't allowed outside speakers, fair enough. We've never had outside speakers ever since we opened the pub nearly 6 years ago. So that's never been an issue. And you're saying about public safety, why are you discrediting us about public safety when there was no issues of violence, no drug-related incidents, no ambulances or police required? So we weren't the people blocking the road, even though we were busy trying to clear the road to assist. The queues to the entrance of Madeira Drive were blocking the road. This was organised, and this is not linked to us. Mukanera customers were in the road, and they're on the videos, and there's also some local residents in the road who are nothing to do with the pub. So I don't see that we were breaching public safety. purposes, surely public safety is largely about our venue and not about the street. We were looking after the street, spent all weekend outside giving people plastics, and I kept telling people, please clear the road, please clear the road, and they were not our customers. I've got, what else did I want to mention? It's too long actually. So if this road is closed and it becomes a pedestrianised area, do you not think that's why some of the public and the local residents started to congregate? Because the road's closed and they know it's closed. If the road was open, they probably wouldn't have stood in the road. So by closing the road, making a temporary road closure, I feel that encouraged crowds rather than the pub. There were so many people up St James Street as well, actually in the roads. I've got lots of videos of people going up St James Street, past the Cock Block, past the Bulldog, and congregating outside some of the other pubs as well, which are not in question, but it just shows the general area. On the Sunday evening, and you said multi-agency visits made again to the pub to reduce the level of noise which was audible in the vicinity. This was when it was quiet Sunday night, in general everywhere, and you could see on the videos it's really quiet. So I don't know what they're referring to on the Sunday evening. And then there was an incident where they took one of our security guards that was on the door. They took her and drug tested her and left us one security short. I felt that was a risk under the temporary events notice that I had 3 security and one of them disappeared for an hour and a half, leaving me outside on the street with 1 security. And they took the girl away, drug tested her, she proved negative, and then they brought her back. Well, I never met this girl before, she works for Pagoda Security, and they reinforced her, but I did feel that really when they took her, one of the 30 police officers maybe at the end of the road could have come over for a bit, but it was fine. I put my own staff there. We had 8 staff on the bar, 2 inside plus outside, so we utilised our own staff. But he did actually take one of our security, which I think would be more of a breach of safety. We also had a time where we were told to stop off sales. Again, the people in the middle of the street were not our customers, so I don't understand why the off sales would be relevant. So when at 6 o'clock we were told to stop off sales, when our licence is till 1, and as you said on the temporary events notice this year, I did exactly the same last year. I didn't ask for late licence for off sales, that's fair enough, only inside the property. So I was told to stop the off sales, and I was advised that I didn't have lids on my plastics, which we were totally unaware of. And Mark Thorogood was absolutely brilliant. He said to me, carry on, it's not actually been enforced. I believe this year it's a recommendation. It wasn't put in place, so they were going to stop my off sales because they didn't have lids, which they then backtracked. And Mark rightfully said, this isn't something that's policed here. But I don't see what the risks were. And I don't see they're losing confidence in the management. When everybody's safe, there was no violence, no police required, no drug incidences, no ambulances called, no assaults. So I'm just wondering why we're such a disappointment and why it's such a major thing. That's why I'm asking for proportionally that to extend for a few hours for inside consumption only, not even off sales. And they're saying the road's going to be closed again. That they should consider the 10. I do feel it was a bit heavy-handed getting the noise notice. I've never had one in over 30 years, and let alone at Pride. I've never been appealed a 10 before. We were asked we were due a 10 last November for our supervisor here. I put in for a 1 hour extension, and that was not at Pride. It was for 30 people for his 30th birthday party, and it was declined, and it was a 1 hour extension, and that was not about public safety. So just wondering why that was declined last year. Lots of noise allegations that you're referring to have come from 2 particular couples that I'm not going to name because it wouldn't be fair, but there's 2 couples down our street where the noise complaints come from, and that's why we asked if someone had made a complaint at Pride, because we felt it would be unrealistic for someone at Pride to make a complaint at 6 p.m. We've got 2 couples down our street. The rest of the street are absolutely hunky-dory and don't have a problem with noise. And we've got 2 couples who have made quite a vendetta against us. And I will let my staff explain that further. As to actually being the reason for our tables and chairs now being closed at 9. And we feel that these 2 couples have been quite vendetta and quite revengeful against the pub. And we feel that they might have a play in this case. Trying to shorten this. We live at the premises, so we're here every day. We have 2 hotels next door, so we have 23 rooms where guests check in and out. Some people at the hotel know we have the pub and some people don't, because we have regular customers and then we have other customers. So we would know highly about noise next door. And the tattoo shop that adjoins us to the right doesn't have a complaint. We don't know him, but he says that he can't hear immediately next door. So we're wondering where all this noise complaint is coming from. Vertical drinking, we've noted on, and they've said they made a variation for us. When they came to visit us a couple of weeks ago for the new Pride this year, they brought to our attention that actually our drinking outside on the benches actually had been a breach to our licence, which we've been doing for 5 years. And they were helpful in raising this, that we've done a variation on the licence. So when COVID happened and we were allowed to put the benches outside, it didn't actually comply with our licence. So that's the variation they're talking about. So we have been in breach outside unknowingly. So we feel that we had to shut the windows and doors really early. It was so hot. We felt the noise was acceptable for a pub and that the people outside wasn't congregating due to us. And the road wasn't shut due to us. We have notices up saying please respect the neighbours. We've had other complaints about bottling up, which we found out who that wasn't us. It was opposite. So some of the noise complaints have been proven to be unfair, as far as we're concerned. And last year, I personally spent 2 days, both the Saturday and Sunday, managing the street, ensuring with pagoda security that the road was kept safe, and it was. I'm only responsible for the pub and its customers, not the entire street. We didn't even know that the street was going to be closed with a barrier, let alone to be the entrance to the residents, and the ambulance emergency routes were in place. Don't you think we should have been made aware of this point? I thought. Anyway, we went around giving anybody who had a glass or plastic, who hadn't even our customers, just to avoid any further potential risks. The police didn't remove glass from people, we were all doing it. We had at one point 30 police at the end of the road until Sunday at 9 p.m, and none of them were then required, so they did nothing to assist us with the street. We were wondering if we were such a high risk, why they were then not removing glass from residents and people that were not our customers. We didn't sell the products that they were holding, and if they were considered such a risk, we're wondering why they didn't intervene. Pagoda and us were the only ones managing this street. And then at 9 p.m, the police completely disappeared and it was unattended. We were then open until midnight. So if it was that dangerous, I'm wondering why there was no police, we just had 2 security staff from 9 till 1 in the morning. Bearing in mind that the street party had closed, and when the street party closed, all them people are going to go somewhere. So when the street party shut, everybody left the party, and they're either going to carry on drinking or they're going to go home. The police went because they obviously, I felt that it was in safe hands, because the people that left the street party, some of them, then come to the pub. It was quieter than those of the last 4 years, because the party wasn't obviously at St James Street. I don't think I really need to say anything else. I think I've wrapped it up, if that's okay with everybody.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Would anybody else from your team, your partners and your staff, like to make any additional comments?
Yes, please, if that's all right. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, also, who was Sophie that came in?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you know who Sophie?
She works for us at Pride, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
she worked for us for a few years.
Right, she's come and gone a couple of times. I wonder whether she's here just to observe, or did you ask her to come along to speak?
We did ask her, but she's had a really busy. She's a solicitor now, and she's been really busy. So she did apologise that she might not be able to take the time now. But if she can speak, that's good. If it's not,
she can, but I can't see her anywhere on the screen. I think Frankie let her in a couple of times, but she seems to have disappeared. Anyway, let's go ahead with Zach or whoever else from your staff, your team wants to speak.
Here we go. Do you want to say something, Mason?
Hello, everyone. Just wanted to say really that it does feel like a personal attack. We've had ongoing things for a while now, and it's just taking its toll. We're getting the blame for the most ridiculous things. Even, after shutting after hours, let's say through the week after 12, could be a slight noise outside, and it just comes back to us. And regarding the neighbours that we've had issues, I have personally spoke to them, and I have tried, getting them to come along if we can have a meeting, if we can sort something out. But it just seems like they're just adamant, and it seems like it's coming from one person that, in the day, when we see him throughout the day, he is completely fine with us. He talks to us, he's just like a best friend. But then come evening or whenever he's had a drink, he just wants to cause it. And I personally hold the karaoke myself, and and we have a rule that throughout the evening we have the music to a temperature. It's never to a limit, but it's never too loud. And then say like from, I don't know, like 9:30 when we have to shut the doors, we turn the music down and we keep it to like 11. We can't control like people singing and things like that, but we definitely intervene if we hear people like screaming and stuff like this. And there is one occasion, apparently, one of these neighbours have got a video of me after midnight popping up and down. I do drag, that's in my career. And I did ask for some proof of this, but they have nothing of it. So I do feel like it's a personal attack.
Possibly, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard, but there was something.
Sorry, my mic's off. I don't know why. I'll just pop it back on. I'm not sure why. I must have pressed the button by accident.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
yeah,
sorry.
it just feels like a personal attack against us. And I can be a witness for the Pride weekend. Vicky and Zach were both outside and they were maintaining the whole street. We had so many police officers outside. They put so much pressure on us. And everything was made out to be our fault. There was the queue outside, the queue was outside from the seafront to up here. People were coming in and out, just, because they got fed up of waiting, but they weren't, in the videos you'll see, they weren't dancing, they weren't, getting involved with the pub.
They're not even drinking.
And yeah, most of them wasn't even drinking. And there was a time a couple of years ago, I was outside with Zach on the bar, and directly it hit, was it 9 o'clock? Directly at 9 o'clock, they were hounding Zach, and he literally just finished making a drink. Although the bar was completely shut down at this point, he went to hand this drink, and then these people were so rude, especially to the customer. I'm very big on like customer service. Like we don't want anything bad. Yeah, and they were very handed towards Jack and the situation. And usually, when we had the outside bar, we would start shutting down like 20 minutes before because we know it's going to take time. We have a system for the star. We alternate doing different things. Yeah, and talking about music and things, even like on an ordinary weekend, regardless of what event it is, Zach and Vicky will go walking around to see if they can hear the music from a certain distance. If it is too loud, they do personally come in and turn the music down themselves. Yeah. Yeah, and for my birthday last year, I know maybe personal relationships didn't come into licensing, but that's what also felt like an attack on us, because I've been here, it was my 30th birthday, and I wanted to do my birthday party nowhere else but at the St. James, and it wasn't going to be like a lively thing, it was just going to be, food and drink, just for people, family and friends. There was going to be no DJ. It was just going to be music on in the background, kind of like a tea and cake afternoon, that kind of thing. Because I didn't want anything too big, and even that, cancelled or rejected. So I just feel like it's a personal attack on the pub from past and present things that are going on.
Thank you. Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. Anybody else from your team, Victoria? Oh, okay. Two people there. Would you like to go ahead?
Hiya, I'm Paris. I'm one of the employees here. So I'm an employee here, and I also am a resident directly opposite the pub. I've been living there since August, and from my personal experience from living over there, if I'm not at work, if the windows and doors are shut, I cannot hear the pub. Like the noise from over there, like across the road, it's perfectly fine. It's a reasonable, in my opinion, it's a reasonable amount. Like we barely hear it. And as Mason said, I also help host the karaoke's, the alternate weeks, and we do everything within our power to keep the noise levels down. again, stop people screaming, stop people shouting. We start closing the bar early to help stay within our hours. We let people know in advance so that they're not buying drinks last minute. We have the decibel meter right next to where the music is as well, so that we can see it at all times. So we kind of just do everything. And again, I've never had any problems living across the road opposite a pub. I've lived opposite pubs many a times, and it's just never. This is no different from what I feel. I had other things to say, but I can't remember what they were.
It's all right.
Too ADHD for me. What was it? Sorry.
Turn the microphones down.
Yeah, so we turn the microphones down. Yeah, honestly, when we have to shut the windows and the doors because of noise, it's so hot that honestly I have been so close to passing out because of how hot it is. Because we can't have the windows open and we can't have the doors open because we're trying to respect the neighbours. Even though it does feel like a personal vendetta. Just from working this since September, I've seen so many issues with this one neighbour. Even in my house, we have the issues with the same neighbour. I don't know if that relates to anything, but it's just my point.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We've got a problem. Sarah from licensing has reported a problem with the webcast. Frankie, do you know what the issue is?
Yeah, I've just had a look. It seems that there's some kind of sound effect, some kind of interference with the audio. If you give me a moment, I'll get in contact with Chris. But if we could just pause the proceeding for a moment, obviously we can't necessarily continue with that. So just give me a couple of minutes, I'll be right back.
Yeah, thank you. I think sometimes when there's several people in the room, see, I can hear myself talking now on your laptop. It's how many laptops have you got in the room? Two. Okay. I think that's usually the problem. Yeah. No, I can hear you because you're coming through on the other laptop.
The other laptop. Maybe it's on the laptop. No.
I think that might be good, yeah. If you could all be accessing one laptop, that might be easier.
You come over here, sir.
Yeah. I just wonder, our time is getting on a bit. I just wondered how soon we are to be able to wrap up your statements and so on. Because then we've got to have questions, and then you have your summing up, and then our deliberations, and we have to make a decision today.
I understand.
Anyway, let's just see what. I think the main problem is that Sam, Paul, and I have got to get to the town hall for 2 o'clock because we're on planning committee. We might have to ask for that to be put back a bit because we're all in our own homes at the moment, rather than at the town hall. I mean, obviously we want everybody to have a sort of a fair hearing and so on, but the fact that we've got to have a discussion afterwards is slightly worrying me because of the timing. It's coming up for 2 hours now. What do you think? Where are you? Rebecca, what do you think?
Well, we shouldn't. Yeah, we're not being webcast at the moment, are we? But I think.
Before you continue, just talking to Chris now about because the video is still playing. So
can't hear you, Frankie, properly.
You can't hear me?
Oh, just about. Go on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, just to avoid discussing anything that you wouldn't potentially want in the public domain, although the webcast has an audio sound playing over it at the moment, disrupting. the webcast is still going. The public can see what's occurring. So I would avoid saying anything that you wouldn't say otherwise in a public session. I've just spoken to Chris and asked him to pause the webcast. That doesn't seem to have occurred yet. Unfortunately, I don't have the power to pause it myself. So I just wanted to notify you about.
Okay, this is tricky.
Well, we're just trying to work out how long we've got, really, aren't we? And that's just in terms of managing the hearing. It sounds like.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah.
Anyway, it sounds like you're fairly close to closing your submissions, doesn't it? I think now. So, but we'll wait.
Just looking at some. That could have a quick
Are we okay to go forward now? Yep, things up. Okay, so Zach, I think you wanted to say something.
Really, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly fine. Yeah.
Thank you. Just a couple of points I just want to raise. Just regarding serving before 11 o'clock outdoor last couple of years, I don't think that is true. We never opened before our outdoor license, and we never served after, because always 2-3 people help. I used to run the stall outside, and people helping me to stock outside on the street, and people help me before we serve, and because we have to stock up before we start to serve. And when we stop serving at 11 o'clock, we never ever served anyone after our permitted license. And couple of when licensing officer and police told me off about serving bottles, I proved to them at the time we don't have Stella bottles, and we never serve a Stella at all at our property. But it happened a few times, people buying Stellas and other brands, and they might be just leave up the road from us or borrow any flat around. They buy from Morrison, and they serve out. They come and drink out and celebrate the party. But it doesn't mean we sell bottles or any another brand. We don't have, but we've been told off anyway, because it just came outside and start to drink outside. But anyway, we've been told off.
And on the tables and chairs.
And the tables and chairs, we put them at the railing along the road from us and chain them so no one can stand on them. I bought a very long chain to chain them, and no one can move them, making sure everyone's safe at our property. And yeah, regarding the noise complaint, I feel people taking it personally against me for a couple of times. Issues. A few weeks ago, there's a couple of guys standing outside, they've been drunk, and they are not our customer. 3-4 people standing on the road. I have to admit, they've been loud, and someone messaged me without mentioning names saying, "Oh, these people loud outside your pub." I said, I messaged my neighbor saying, they're not my customer, they're not been in, nothing to do with me. He said, "Oh, ask them to move." I said, "No, you ask them to move. How can I control people standing on the street, talking and chatting to each other, and I tell them to move?" They keep telling me, I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude, but basically get lost. I'm on the street. I can do what I want. But because people, I feel like they've been picking on me personally. Anything, honestly, after serving Friday and Saturday, because we shut at 1, and I stand myself personally outside on the street telling people, I know you're not my customer, can you keep moving? Move away and do whatever you like, because people being targeting us at St. James Tavern because of the noise. And a lot of people, they told me, I'm sorry, I don't want to say that again, but they put the finger up and they walk away, and they are not our customers, I promise you. And people, again, without mentioning name, down the road from us, they hate me personally. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I hate me personally. The car, I moved my car, I know it's out of, I just want to prove to you, this is a personal issue to me. I moved my car from down the road, by the end of the road. So I just turned around and I came halfway up to Madeira Place where we live. And then people, they saw the car moved by the end of the road. So they went down, and when they saw me, we closed by, then people, they put the finger up against me. And then the same people, one time, one of them fall off the floor. She was drunk or something. And Victoria, they knew Victoria, she's my wife. And Victoria went to help, picking her up. And she went, "Oh, don't say you are with that man. He make too much noise." How can we make too much noise? And what's that to do with them if she is with this man, which is me or not? I feel all of it is personal against me. And people told me, The neighbors, they told me a little while ago, I will bankrupt you. These people, they should know better, because all we try to do here, work, pay our taxes, business rate, and employ people, and people, half of them, including Paris, he's a student here, they are trying to learn and pay bills and live their life. But I feel most of it is against me personally.
Thank you. Can I just ask, have you reported any of these incidents to the police as hate crimes?
Honestly, I never reported anything, but can I add one more? Little while ago, before we opened the bar at 11 in the morning, I took the A board outside St. James's Street, and someone came and they started putting me on the face. So we rolled over each other, me and him, to the middle of Madeira Place, on the corner of Madeira Place. And a few people get involved to take him off me. Even this is not our customer. This hate, I think the bar was closed and just trying to clean the bar and taking things outside like an A-board at 10:30 in the morning to clean the floor and the rest of it, try to prepare for opening time at 12. And that guy, he just jumped on me and started to hit me. And it happened, he just stayed on the top of me and he put his thumb into my eyes. And he's trying to take my eyes out. And there's a young lady who was sitting at Starbucks coffee, close the road at St. James's Street. And she recorded it all. And she came over to us. And she passed it to us. We sent it to the police, and the police called. They came half an hour later. And I told them, honestly, thank you very much for coming, but there's no need for you, because thanks God I still got my eyes, my both eyes is still here, because that guy trying to take my eyes out and you come half an hour later, there's no need for you. I made a complaint to the police officer at the time online, made a complaint, and they came back saying there's not enough evidence. Me, Victoria, and two staff at the time, and that lady who's sitting having coffee at Starbucks coffee, she sent the video how that guy jumped on me. He's a drug dealer and he's a drug consumer. And the police said, oh, there's not enough evidence. The question about reporting it to the police, I think sorry,
I think we're all really horrified to hear this. But I think really, although this is supporting evidence for why you think that the premises might be being targeted for whatever reason, I really think you should take this up with the police. That's my advice as a person, not as the chair of this committee, of this panel. But I think, and I'm really sorry to hear that. And I think I really think you should seek advice from the police on this, because it sounds like a hate crime to me. And I'm sure Mark, well.
And we live right next door. We live right next door. I mean, when people hear everything at St. James's Street and Madeira Place, is a 24 hours busy street, and we've been targeted for any noise. We hear everything, same as everyone. But any noise down St. James's Street and Madeira Place, we get blamed for it, because this pub been here for the last 200 years, and a lot of people targeting us. And I feel like personally myself, because I'm sorry, I have to say, I feel I'm a foreign man running an English pub. People cannot handle it.
Yeah,
I think I should get the same as everyone to work and enjoy our business and enjoy our life.
Thank you. And as I said, I'm sure we're all very horrified to hear some of the things that you've had to put up with. Yeah, thank you. I think Luke wants to say something now. So can we give him the chance to say something?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Hello, guys. So just regarding what Zach's just said, just linking back to that, there has been social media pages, so many things put out there in like regarding the hate crime with St. James's Tavern. There has been protests that have been organised against the pub. There's a whole stream of history which is all over social media and which has affected business for the pub as well as everyone around it. Furthermore, going a bit off topic, linking back to Pride, that is, the street party moving from St James's Street to, I think it's Madeira Drive, the entrances having that being changed has been a big thing, where Pride beforehand, having the access of the street party being at the bottom of St James's Street meant that St James was never actually a problem. There was no noise complaints, there was nothing. But 2025, the first year of trading with the new access point to the street party being on Madeira Drive, has caused a problem. Also involving the other side venue, the gelatery, where they have received complaints as well regarding noise, which just both happen to be venues which are right by the entrance of the street party. So noise being the primary reason as to why this has all happened. I think it's quite unfair for St James is having to, be receiving this problem, involving the history that's happened, and the reposition of the entrance and people constantly partying on the road. It's been a big effect on us, that is.
Thank you. That's interesting to hear. I don't know if there's going to be a review of or have there been a review of the moving of the party down to Madeira Drive, because if there is a review, then that's obviously something that you guys need to put into that mix. But if everybody's now had if all of your team, Victoria, have had the chance to say something, I think it's now time for us to ask questions. So I'll start with Paul and Sam. Have you got any questions you'd like to ask? Okay, can I just ask about the off sales? I was a bit confused because to me, off sales is like selling, something that's in a closed container to take out. But you were saying something about off sales and lids being needed to put on. I mean, is it just that you sell, say, a pint of beer or whatever to somebody to take outside to drink outside? Is that what you're referring to as off sales? But is that actually off sale? I mean, I'm confused by that. Because to me, off sales is to take it home or whatever, or,
At Pride, because there's obviously no glass, it has to be put into a plastic.
Yeah. I understand that,
Yeah, and usually you could obviously give them glass. You could sell a bottle of wine, or you could sell, but at Pride you can't, so you put it into a plastic. And the off sales was to our normal time of our license, not for the after hours. But last year they asked us to shut our off sales earlier.
Yeah, but what do you mean when you say off sales? Because I mean, I've been in a pub gone outside to the garden and been given a plastic glass to put my wine in. But that's not an off sale. That's not off sales. But what do you mean by off sales? This is like if someone
goes to the beach or takes it home or is going. So
okay, that's fair enough. I understand that. Yeah.
Not on your premises. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's not just someone standing outside.
No.
Drinking. Okay.
Not thank you. On your pavement license. No, that's not.
Okay.
That's part of the premises. Yeah.
Thank you. I understand that now.
And it's a good idea to have lids, to be fair, but it wasn't enforced to have lids. But I was told off for not having lids.
Okay. Well, I think that's something you need to take up with the police. Or still, I think there's a lot of overlapping issues.
He did back us up. He was excellent. He backed us up and said it wasn't a legal requirement for us.
Okay. So now, if Sam and Paul have definitely got nothing else to ask, I shall go over to Mark now to see if he has any questions.
No, I was just going to clarify the situation with regards to off sales at the St James, if you think that would be handy.
Please, thank you.
So within the premises license that the St James's have, they've got both on and off sales, but within the actual day-to-day premises license, there is a condition that off sales is only in closed containers. Now, over Pride weekend, they were selling pints of lager in plastic pints, and they were then obviously going out onto the street, which is off sales. Now, what's happened is an officer has noticed that, not an officer who's licensing, they were aware of the condition on the license. And so I was then called to hotfoot it over there from John Street Police Station, and went over to the St James and just clarified the situation that during Pride they could do them in open containers because they were operating under their temporary event notice. So obviously when you have a 10, that kind of goes over and above what your premises license says, because you're operating under the 10 rather than the premises license. So that's where there was that slight confusion with the officer with regards to that, because they weren't a licensing officer and obviously they're not going to know everything. But yeah, I was able to get over there and just clarify the situation for them so that they could do the open containers during the weekend.
Thank you. That's very helpful, and obviously very helpful of you knowing the whole situation to be able to convey that to Victoria. Thank you. Okay, Sarah, have you got anything you'd like to ask?
No, thank you.
Okay, Melaine?
No, thank you.
Okay, right. So if nobody else has any questions, I think now what we need to do now is to... Oh, Rebecca, sorry.
Well, we haven't asked. I mean, the event itself is for late at night, isn't it? It's from 1 till 3, effectively. And what sort of what conditions will you be using from? You've got security, door staff, and then will you be using any other conditions from your license or not, because it's a temporary event notice? Like the noise limiter, for example, is that?
Yeah, well, you have the noise limiter.
You would have the noise limiter.
Yeah, and the doors closed, yeah.
And we're going to shut the doors shut and the windows shut. And we wasn't going to use the function room upstairs. We was going to keep all the staff downstairs, and have staff in the police in the toilet, because we have to check an eye on the toilets as well, because our toilets are downstairs. Just sort of describing the layout. So yeah, obviously nothing outside. Everything will be inside, and yeah, security like we would normally at Pride, or even an extra security if it's necessary. But usually we don't have any security at all on the premises, you see, only at Pride. But we would obviously make sure we would have them in place. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And we've got our supervisor and staff that know what they're doing, not temporary staff.
Okay. So with the music, will the music just be DJ music, or will there be karaoke and stuff during those extra hours?
It'd be just DJ.
Indoor.
I mean, we can do whatever you want, but normally it would be DJ.
Indoor DJ.
But inside, yeah, definitely, with everything shut.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Rebecca. I think we've. Is there anything else you would like to advise us on there? Given that, as you say, we're just looking at these extra hours.
I mean, one thing is that, I mean, I don't know if the police are, but there hasn't, as I understand it, the issues with the management during Pride are mainly during the day, aren't they? They're not necessarily, there weren't any visits during the actual operation of the temporary event notice. I don't know if that could be just clarified, but as I understand it, it's the issues during the day that don't give confidence that's
okay.
Yes,
I think it's the issues of when trading under a temporary event notice, and obviously the ongoing years where each year we've had some kind of issue while operating under a 10.
But they weren't operating under a 10, were they? Because they had their normal hours.
Or their hours, yeah. I think that's what.
No, so they were operating under a 10 for all of the recent Prides. So the Prides where they had the street bar, and they had a 10 last Pride. So even though the ongoing issues each year, we've said, okay, look, we'll let you have a 10 this year. Please, you've just got to get it right. Make sure you're on point and everything. But then there's been another issue. So this is why we're here today, because, it's come to a point now where, we think enough is enough. And for this year, just trade under the license conditions.
I think what Rebecca's trying to say is, forgive me if I'm wrong, is that we're looking at a relatively short period, well, a shortish period of time, because even though the TENS is under, they're under operating under a TENS, that TENS only really applies to the later hours. Is that correct?
No, not on this 10 because of taking away the first floor so that they can use it during the day. So they're operating under a 10 starting from Friday the 31st at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
We don't have to have upstairs open if you want us to shut upstairs.
But hang on, I think Sarah, I know Paul wanted to, but I think Sarah wants to come in as well. Sarah Cornell.
I was only going to clarify what Marcus just said about the fact that they have actually applied for from 9 o'clock in the morning.
We open at 9 o'clock anyway.
For the first floor, there are currently conditions on the licence that restrict the use of the first floor quite significantly. So they were looking to relax those as part of this 10, as well as applying for an extension at the end of hours for both floors.
So licence from 9 anyway in the morning.
Yeah, just to add that the panel can't in any way change this temporary event notice. It can't modify it, or I mean, that's something that you would have to have agreed between the police. The panel can only decide whether to let the event go ahead or to issue a counter notice. That's
just 2.5 hours extra, and we've never had complaints during that time. Funny enough, the time we're asking for is not the times if they've had any issues.
That's what. Yeah, I suppose obviously we've got to operate within the law, as it were. Even though I understand now what you're saying. Paul, can I bring you in here?
I just wanted to clarify something. Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to clarify something with Mark. Mark, so when you've had to speak to the owners of the business, if they didn't have a TENS, would they still have been open anyway?
If they were, so their normal premises license over the Friday into Saturday into Sunday would permit them to be open until 1 o'clock in the morning.
So the TENS would have made no material difference to the problem at all?
Yes and no. So when they had the outside bars, that would have had to have been 10. But so last year, the main issues were mainly around the noise attracting loads of people into that area. And under the 10, it was confirmed that all the music would just be kept within the venue.
Cool. But they could have, and excuse me, Victoria and Zach, they could have been causing that problem anyway.
They could,
regardless of whether they had a TENS or not. And at the point the TENS was in operation, you had no reason to speak to them at all.
Not at that point, no.
Right. Cheers. Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Thank you. Sam, you've got a question now. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry, it was really following on from what Paul said, because I got very confused around the issue of the TENS. So the TENS is now about not just whatever we think has been applied for, it's about extending the use of the premises as well as the time for that day.
Yeah, so also just to go back to you, Paul, last year from 9 o'clock on the Friday, they were operating under a 10.
That's not right.
And so when were the complaints made? But the complaints were made earlier.
All the way through till 3 a.m. So sorry,
Mark, if I may, if I may, but the TENS made no material difference until, I don't know, for the sake of arguing, like 12 till 3. They would have been open. They would have been open anyway.
Yeah. So if we take out the middle floor, the first floor out the equation, then yes, if they were operating downstairs as they were last year on the Saturday, then yes, we would most probably, we would have had the same situation.
We didn't open the first floor last year. We didn't open the first floor last year.
Yeah. Can I just ask, would it have made any difference if they had just applied for 3 separate TENS notices?
They wouldn't
to cover those additional ones. Can they not do that?
You could only have 1 10 notice because you can't have 2 within the same period or within 24 hours of each.
Of course.
So you would have to have it all under 1 notice. But then the notice is very stipulative of what they can do and can't do.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think. Well, Sam and Paul. I think. Are you clear on that now? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think now we can move on to summaries. And if you could be if you could be pretty brief, because we've got to move on to our deliberations, and we have heard an awful lot of evidence from everybody today. So I'll call on you first of all, Sarah, to do your summary.
Okay, so in accordance with Section 105 of the Licensing Act, where an objection notice is given by the Environmental Health Team and or the police, the licensing authority must hold a hearing, and you have heard from all parties present today regarding this 10 notification. The licensing authority must have regard to the objection notices, either decide to allow the licensable activities or give the premises user a counter notice if it considers it to be appropriate to do so for the promotion of the licensing objectives. It must give the premises user the counter notice together with a statement of the reasons for its decision and give any other relevant person a copy, in this instance, the police and environmental health. If the licensing authority decides not to give a counter notice, it must provide the premises user and any other relevant person with a notice of its decision. All these requirements must be met at least 24 hours before the beginning of the event period specified in the temporary event notice. And there are appeal rights to this decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mark, would you like to give your summary, please? And then I'll move on to Melaine. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So we obviously gave our presentation and raised concerns over the venue operating over previous Pride since 2022 and the issues that we've had while operating under a 10. We've put our objection in this year because of what's happened over those years, and feel that this year that they should just trade under their current license permissions, a license that they're used to trading day in, day out, 12 months of the year, rather than having lesser restrictions, which have obviously confused the matters in previous years. Thank you.
Thank you. Melaine.
Thank you. So I just wanted to summarise and say, following observations from the patrols that were taken last year whilst Pride was taking place in St James's Street by the police, by council licensing and by environmental protection, we observed that there was exceptionally loud music coming from the premises. And I'd like to point out that at no point have we said that it was external music. It was all coming from inside the premises, but the music was so loud it was heard throughout the area, the vicinity of the St James's pub outside. So on the basis of that, with the DPS and other members of the management team, a community protection warning was served. And I'd just again like to clarify that a community protection notice has never been served. It was a warning. And so, I'd just like to clarify that situation. But on the basis of last year and on the basis of previous incidents and previous years, again, the environmental protection team would like this like the pub to just adhere to their own premises license and to not have this temporary event notice granted, to see whether this year they can maybe not cause the problems that they did in the previous years.
Thank you very much. Victoria, would you like to summarise your case, please?
I do think it's an unfair decision, but
sorry, we haven't made a decision. We haven't made a decision. We've just listened to representation.
I understand. Yeah, I'm just listening to their views, but I feel really let down because I really feel that I actually monitored the whole street last year. Absolutely. And I, instead of getting a huge thank you, which I think I should have got with all the staff, we got this. And we are just under disbelief. We are astonished, and we just cannot believe it when we did so much for the public, so much confiscating glassware, so much to help Pride and the street, not our pub, the whole street and the whole area. And I just think we should have got a huge thank you. And I just feel so disappointed. And regardless, I feel disappointed. I feel like we've done way more beyond any other pub. And this and that, and it was quiet compared to all the other years. And we had exactly the same security as the other years. And we had the same, we didn't have police. You know, all the other years, we handled it all ourselves. And the last 5 years, we've handled it well. And I don't understand why these minor, what I feel proportionate issues have come in the way. I think we're an honour to Pride, and I think our staff are an honour. And I think that it's really unfair. That's how I feel. But
thank you very much. And I think now, sorry.
The noise complaint was made at 6 o'clock in the evening. What is that to do with the late 10 license closing at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Okay, I think. Yes, sorry. I think because we've asked those questions. Yeah,
we try to help. This is policing problem.
I think Mark has explained to us the legal issue with the 10s having to be from the whole day. So in other words, for that weekend, your premises is under a slightly different license to what you would be during the rest of the time. That's where the issue, I think, is coming from. So thank you so much for both of you.
Can I just ask what happens this year? Can I just ask what happens this year if people congregate in the street? What do I do?
Well, we can't, none of us have got a crystal ball, so I don't think we can do anything about that. What we have to do as a panel now...
Do I just leave them there, or what do I do?
But I don't think it's up to us to recommend anything or ask you to do things. But what we've got to do now is to go away and deliberate on what we've heard from everybody. And I thank you all and your team for putting in such such sort of detailed thing. And also, again, I will say I'm really sorry and horrified to hear what's happened to Zach. And I will reiterate my advice about going to the police about that one. So I think now I'm going to draw this part of the hearing to a close. And so thank you to everybody, to Sarah and Melaine and Mark and Luke and Nathan and Zach and Victoria, and we will now move on to, we'll go back into our other virtual room, make a decision after deliberation, and we will get you the decision. I think, how quickly do we have to get it?
Well, I think as soon as possible, but maybe by tomorrow, hopefully, you'll have the decision. The panel will deliberate now, and then we'll put the decision in writing, and you should have it by close of tomorrow. I hope.
Thank you. I think Frankie. Okay, Frankie, you normally say something about the procedure, don't you?
Oh, I think it's all right. I think the panel will now deliberate, and then.
I just, because normally I think Frankie normally says something about we will go into private session. Frankie will be clerking it, and Rebecca will be there just to give us any advice. But all the discussion will take place between the three of us, and the decision that's taken will be by the three of us. Anyway, thank you, everybody. It's chucking down with rain outside, which is not much, which is very unfortunate. But I hope you all enjoy the rest of your days, regardless. Okay, thanks, everybody. Cheerio. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.